It puts the lotion on its skin.
5,
Yeah.
4, 3.
Tricks, you know what I'm talking about? That lettuce, that lettuce. Gotta get it. Gotta get it. That lettuce, that lettuce, focused all on the check. Yeah, all I want is lettuce. Yeah, just give me the lettuce. Yeah, just give me the lettuce.
Lettuceheads, we are back with another episode of Please Let Us Golf, the podcast. Tonight, Mr. Golfberg's out gallivanting with the family. You got Goldie, you got Jewel, you got Adam. How are we doing tonight, gentlemen?
I just want to say it is an honor to be on with the best golfer in Please Let Us Golf.
Oh, man.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be back.
Maybe a teaser of upcoming topic, because we are excited because 2 of us on this pod are heading to Pinehurst in a few days and 1 of us are not, but they do have if you are watching, they have a Pinehurst number 4 flag hanging behind them. So we're going to get into that in a second. But guys, up front, usually we're not too thirsty. We're not telling everyone to comment, like, and subscribe right out of the gates. It's probably shooting ourselves in the foot. But I'm a little excited, and I feel like we got to spend 10 seconds. First of all, saying thank you to the Lettuceheads out there. We've had people checking out our socials, the Instagram, the YouTube, but the pod, it started 6 months ago. So last week was episode 26. This is episode 27. 27 weeks in a row of commitment of every Tuesday a podcast being released. So when we started this thing, there's some global podcast rankings that you can go find. They're publicly available information. They rank the top 250 in a category. We weren't ranked, obviously, nothing burger. Fast forward about episode 12, 13, they ranked the top 250. We started cracking the top 250. We're like, oh, look at us, guys. Only 249 more podcasts to go. Fast forward to last week. We cracked the top 100, coming in officially as of the end of this week, number 79. So guys, let's just do a quick little round of applause for ourselves. But what does it even mean? It means that, like, hey, like, people are checking out what we're doing. The watch hours, the listen hours, the subscribers are going up. Clearly there's 78 more victims in our way, and some big hitters up top, but we're trending. We're not going away. We know it's going to take a couple years to do it, but I did want to sincerely say, anybody who's out there listening to, we're starting to get people sharing some of clips from the pod, sending us messages. We need it, because unfortunately that's how the algorithm works. We need people to click subscribe. You got to comment on the podcast. You got to share it with the friends and family and let us know, like, real golf talk is happening on Please Let Us Golf, the podcast. But guys, I just wanted to say thanks. Like, it's pretty cool for us. I mean, that we have some goals and milestones that we had in mind, kind of exceeding them pretty early. So Adam, you've been on a lot of episodes with us. Anything to the Lettuceheads out there?
No, man, super thankful. It is weird. Like, you put these pods out there and you kind of like are thinking, is anybody actually listening to these things? And apparently they are. I mean, you just listed some pretty high praise. And look, we're not going to stop, man. We're going to keep churning these things out, and we're coming. We're mowing them down.
And look at Jewel just jumping right when we crack top 1. He takes about 4 or 5 weeks off the pod. We crack top 100, and the text comes in, guys, I'm available Sunday night. Let me jump in there. Jewel, something for the Lettuceheads.
Man, kudos to you guys. That's incredible. I mean, and to Mr. Golfberg as well. You know, I've been here for maybe 6, 7 of these things. I'm a 20%er. Normally I'm a top 20%er, not in this case, bottom 20%er, but I'm just glad to ride the wave. I'm not normally a bandwagon guy, but here I am jumping on.
I think we're in a signature event now, aren't we? What was it, top 80?
Yeah, we're about to be exempt into the signature event. So all right, that's enough business talk. Makes me feel cringe enough. But do make sure, if you're listening to this, click subscribe. It matters a lot. But guys, we teased it up front. Pinehurst week. I do feel bad. Goldie's going. Adam's going. Jewel, we couldn't deconflict the schedule. He's not going to make it, but he does have a Pinehurst number 4 flag that was earned. We have a running bet, Mr. Jewel and I. I think I'm a flag behind, but we'll save that for another episode. If we play solo matches, anybody that breaks par at one of these signature courses, you got to buy the other guy a flag. We think it's classy. So he earned that number 4 flag on our trip in 2023 to Pinehurst, where he played amazing golf for the entire weekend. And I was a degenerate gambler. I was just chasing, doubling down, pressing where I couldn't get up on him. But that number 4, I think, was that a back 932 to close out the 70? Was the 70 that day?
That's right. Yeah. Back 932 was pretty awesome. The front 9, we can talk about it later.
Yeah, it could have been something, but no. So we're heading back up to Pinehurst, man. We got a nice little agenda. We're going to be playing number 10, number 4, number 2. Then got an afternoon at the Cradle. So, Julie, again, I feel bad. I'm not trying to throw it in your face. Wish you were there for selfish reasons, so I can maybe try to get some redemption, or just get kicked down the camp.
Was Julie even invited on this trip? After the last one where he kind of foot stomped that he was that guy.
Jewel was the first invite on this trip. I thought it was a lock. I mean, he loves number 2. He loves number 4. I thought with those on the itinerary, nothing, God couldn't keep him away from this. But life somehow, when you got some career responsibilities and kids, it seems to throw some grenades into the scheduling.
I hate not going next week with you guys, but I tell you what, the fact that you are playing number 10, that's what probably gets me the most. 4 and 2, I can't wait to hear Adam's opinion and just see what you think about it, because it was just so incredible. I'm a little sad I'm not going to play number 10 with you guys.
And let's get this on the record too, because Adam has been kind of billed our historian / golf purist. However, he's been pretty hard on saying like he just doesn't get it about Pinehurst. So kind of a juxtaposition there of the guy who claims to be our historian purist wants to shit all over spending the money for Pinehurst number 2. So I'm just curious. I need to get it on the record if you come back and go, it was my favorite course of all time.
I think you're over exaggerating a little bit on me dumping on it. Look, it
is a podcast. I can't.
Okay, that's fair. No, but you are right. It is hard to believe that this could potentially stack up with Bandon, Sand Valley, the Ocean course. Just some of those other courses that I have played that I've really liked, and being down here in the South, it's just hard to imagine playing amongst the pines that it's going to get me going. But
oh man, we're going to have an addict, Jewel. He's going to be, the second we get done, he's going to be demanding that this trip is booked annually, just like you and I when we went last year. So,
and that's another reason I'm not worried. He is. We're going next September or October, I'm sure.
And there's just so much, man. Like, I know, like, don't get me wrong. Some combination of 2, 4, and 10 is probably always great. But between that and the Mid Pines and Pine Needle, Southern Pines, and Tot Hill Farm now, and you get Tobacco Road, you can't see it, but I got the shirt on. There's just so much amazing golf. And just if you're especially in the South, we're lucky because we can drive. So gents, normally we have a pretty robust rundown here, but we have a dense topic too, and it's got layers to it, so there's almost a mini rundown within it. We haven't done a lot of the PGA Tour versus LIV talk on here. We've taken our shots and we've given our accolades where we think appropriate, but with everything going on in the world of golf, so this was the week of the big LIV Adelaide, their kind of mega event that they want to say is the coolest event in golf, going up against Prior Riv, move to Torrey Pines, Genesis Invitational, signature event, PGA Tour. And then the news that broke this week of President Trump is meeting with Adam Scott and Jay Monahan. So my confidence is through the roof. But all accounts, Tiger even said it on the broadcast during the Genesis of looks like a deal's getting done. Looks like professional golf's getting back. So I just wanted to kind of go through a conversation of comparing these events and where we're at today. And then like, even what the hell could that even mean and look like? So I know you guys got a lot of thoughts and takes. One thing I wanted to do is just like quickly, I tried to watch Live Adelaide this week. Literally Friday or Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. Even though it was Australia, it was on late here on the East Coast. I tried to check it out. Course looked awesome. It's in, the sand belt there and looked firm, fast, cool. But guys, I'm not even, we've shit on the PGA Tour a lot. We got to take a couple pot shots at Live here. Like the product, it just doesn't work. We get it. They got some good personalities, but between the whole trying to use the Formula One little icons while they're on the course, the music just blasting in the background, the doom, the doom, the doom, the doom, and then I'll get off the stage and just saying, with all that, the format just doesn't work on the final round. The least interesting round that I watched was the final round because there's no crescendo of the course. The course doesn't play a part in the storytelling, which I'm not trying to be, again, like this golf nerd purist, but you need to know like how 13's playing. 15 is the risk reward hole. And it's just this massive random shot going off. That format does not work at all on a final round, and it just doesn't come through on the TV. And it's like they're stuck in that. Is it an in-person product or is it a TV product? And I know you want to do both, but it, to me, destroys the TV product. I'll stop there. Live Adelaide. Anybody check it out?
Yeah, so I tuned in Saturday night into the final round, and it was like a true like, what are we doing? I mean, it was like a what are we doing moment. It like, I mean, you mentioned it. The graphics are just insane. Like they're just all over the place. I feel like I'm gonna have like an epileptic seizure because they're just going nutso with that. And then you
So, and Adam, and I'm sorry, and I know you're going to keep this, but for context too, like the one thing, because I want you and Jewel both to talk about this to say if you knew it and I didn't. So Joaquin Neiman won, kind of ran away with it by a few shots, but T2 was Carlos Ortiz. They're apparently on the same team, Torque, right? Is that how you say it? Torque would be appropriate.
We'll go with it.
But in the team, they're in third place. So I literally don't even understand the team versus solo competition. How can you have the guy come in first and second place and your team does it like barely makes the podium? So I can't keep, it doesn't make any sense.
None of it does. I mean, you've got the singles, you got the team, you've got how many's left to play. Like I said, it's just there's too much going on, and it feels very unserious. And I shouldn't get triggered by this. When I see guys in shorts, I'm just like, this is a unserious golf product. And if you're out there wearing shorts, like you're not a real one. I was taking notes. Hey, Rom, Bryson, they were wearing pants, so I commend those guys. But the guys that are out there wearing shorts, yeah, you Henrik Stenson, some of you other guys, it's like, no, you're not a real serious golfer at this moment.
Wow. Anti-shorts guy.
And I was watching the final round, and something that was driving me crazy is it bounces between how many's left to play. Like it'll flash to somebody and say 3 to play. Then all of a sudden it says 1 to play. Then it goes back to 2. Then it goes to 3. Then 1. And it's like I can't follow what hole these guys are on. I can't get invested as far as we're coming down the stretch, which golf holes matter and which don't.
Guess what? I didn't watch it because I know Live Golf stinks. Like,
oh wow,
there are some really good positives from Live Golf, and I'm thankful that they did the shotgun start. Now we know it 100% stinks. There's a couple of things from Live Golf that we'll take away. I hope that whenever the merger happens, that broadcasting will change forever because they've done some great things with bouncing around on shots and just making sure they're seeing a ton of golf versus watching Tom Kim putt for 45 seconds. But man,
Tom Kim is just not safe on this pod.
Who gives a shit about this course in Australia? Nobody. Like this was not a real golf tournament. And that's why I would never watch, especially when you're going up against the Genesis, even if it's
so when you're saying no one gives a shit about it, you meant just like this isn't, even though the course kind of looked cool to me, you're saying it's not like a prestigious course. They weren't at Royal Melbourne or Kingston Heath or any of the ones that you'd maybe know.
Well, look, I'm also watching, like, we talk a lot of shit about the PGA Tour getting watered down right now. It's not even close, though. You've got Ludwig and Rory and Scotty playing together on Sunday within, like, 3 holes of each other. and you've got who? John Rahm and Joaquin Neiman and Bryson at 4 under, which is 9 shots back. There's nobody over there. Like Dustin Johnson doesn't want to play
Well,
golf anymore, so it doesn't matter.
breaking
Brooks
news:
doesn't care.
Henrik Stenson lapped the field, hitting 32, 42 fairways, coming in at 76%. No one even close. So you had that going for him.
Henrik's a senior open guy. I mean, he's
Right.
a seniors championship guy. That's it.
Yeah, it's
a
Yeah.
weak field.
The broadcast is awful too. I just laughed because the short span that I watched it, they dropped in and did a mic'd up with Abe Answer twice, and it's just him and his caddy speaking Spanish, and they're just like, all right, well, let's go to the fourth hole. It's like what are we doing?
So like, and that's the thing, man. Like, so I used the word juxtaposition earlier. It's probably more appropriate here. So looking at that event versus Torrey Pines, like, while I got issues with the PGA Tour and the signature events and going back to Torrey and some other stuffy stuff, it felt like one was like big leagues and one was just this amateur hour product. It looked like, that's probably the best way of putting it. And there's still a huge gap between those two. And I know the live side would say, oh, well, we got all this room to continue to grow, but it's like good to grow into one. I don't
You've
see
had
it
what
as,
was it 3 years?
yeah, they're on year 3.
I mean,
I think their root cause is just the format does not work at all. And no, let me be clear, there are parts of it that they could make it work. But they're not. Adam, you said this to me offline. I was like, if they just would focus events more on this solo event versus team, and stop trying to make it be like the worst of both worlds for every event. There's a reason why their end of season team event every year has been noted as like the most interesting event. I don't know if it's just because it's a team event or it's because you can follow it, right? Like this stuff, it's too much unnecessary nonsense going on. But Adam, your point to me offline was, but you can't, because you're not going to keep the Roms and the Brookses and all them if you dip or you move away from the solo event, because they really in their heart don't give a shit about the team
No.
aspect.
Well, like, yeah, I mean, you're right. And even if they went full team, like, they're still doing a really terrible job of the team aspect as it is. I mean, there should be, I mean, they talk about trades and like demotions like that. I mean, that would be the most interesting part to me.
Well,
But they're doing,
surprising enough, too, there really wasn't a big acquisition this year. And maybe that's because of pending mergers, but I'm just surprised that they didn't link and get any big fish. And maybe that was part of like the off the books, like, hey, this is going to get resolved. Nobody do anything for 3 months. So maybe they agreed to that. But with contracts coming up here soon from those original kind of OG guys, I'm just curious to how that's going to all play out. Because it doesn't look like it's going to stop either. That's the thing of, and maybe it shouldn't. Maybe that becomes your global circuit and they can modify it, or maybe the PGA Tour can just sponsor teams into live events, right? Like we're going to send 4 guys to go to Adelaide. My fear point is this, guys. I don't want to get too far into the PGA Tour versus live merger piece yet, but who is going to be making those decisions? Because you have on one hand, PIF, Saudi ran, you are an employee company versus still this player ran league whose number one interest is what is in the best interest of the guys who live in Florida. So I just think those two things like are fire and ice, oil and water. And I don't know how they're ever going to merge, or is it just going to become this worst of both worlds situation? And before we deep dive on that, I have a trivia question for you guys.
ooh, I love trivia.
So Torrey Pines, so Riv, I was not aware, because one of the heartburns of the signature events are there's no cuts. I did not track that the 3 player sponsored invitationals, the Tiger one, the Jack one, and I think Bay Hill, maybe, I don't know, whatever the third is, they mandated a cut. but they wouldn't put a real cut in. So they did the 10-shot rule, the old school US Open type of rule. So there was a bunch of guys that actually got cut from this field, and I wasn't tracking that. I was like, that's pretty awesome. 2 guys did not break 80 on the first round. Can you name either of those gentlemen? These are the best golfers in the world, man. Signature event, PGA Tour. Couldn't break 80 in those tough conditions.
Oh man, I'm gonna say Jordan Spieth. I just
well, he did. No,
I just
he didn't.
remember,
Jordan,
yeah, I remember watching.
he got 76.
Okay, yeah, he struggled that first
There were an
round.
82
Tom
and an
Hoagie.
83 out there. Nope. It was Adam Hadwin. So Canadians having a tough week.
Oh,
And
I hate that.
Rasmus Højgaard. So the
They didn't
Rasmus
break 80 the first 2 rounds.
No, the first round. They shot 83 and 82. But Højgaard followed up his 82 with the easy day on Friday with a 77. So he hit the full eject button, finishing 5 shots out of not 5 shots out of last place, 5 shots out of second to last place. He cleared the field in the negative.
Look, I mean, at Torrey, if you're not hitting fairways, an 80 is always out there for you, especially with how thick this rough is.
Oh yeah, they love to tell you about that rough. So so on the positive side, so Julie, you already kind of talked about it. Some of the big name, Rory kind of faltered, but you had Scotty making a little bit of a surge. Patrick Cantlay was up on the leaderboard, but our guy Ludwig, man, he won it. He took it by the balls. The guy is going to be amazing, but it's good for the PGA Tour to see, the guy that they want to win, get up there and get the job done. Did it in pretty impressive fashion. Thoughts on Mr. Aubert?
Yeah, he had a great day, but I mean, I couldn't believe that McNeely lost it. He played so good. What
really
did he shoot? 65?
Yeah, he shot 64 on the final round.
Holy shit. And he didn't lose it. I mean, what did he?
Yeah, I mean,
a par to close out.
Yeah, but he shot 64 on Sunday at Torrey Pines. So I mean, what are you going to do?
Ludwig just played incredible. There was a Scotty chance for a minute when he held it from the bunker on, I believe that was 15. It's like, man, he's gonna win. He's gonna snatch it away. And he didn't get it. And Rory had a chance in the beginning. He just missed him. He putted just on the lip. He had a really good chance to go low. He just got unlucky today.
Yeah, his putter was pretty god awful yesterday though too. But it's good to see him hitting the ball well. Adam, you look like you're chomping to get in.
I was just gonna say it's wild. This is Ludwig's second PGA Tour win. It feels like
all the hitters. He went over at RC Island and then went on the other side. He's a coastal killer, man.
Yeah, only the big time courses for sure. No, it feels like he's done more than that. Just how prominent of a golfer he is.
Yeah, I mean he's just been up there a lot. But guys, real quick, we're gonna have a lot on Ludwig. I gotta blow this up real quick. So for the listening audience, I'm sharing the screen of what the PGA Tour posted. So everyone knows Ludwig had an ace on Saturday. This is just the shit that drives me nuts. After he had the ace, it took a long time for them to post anything to socials. And I was wondering why. So this is pulling up. It's refreshing now. Ace for Aberg, got the shot tracer. And then all of a sudden, the shittiest, laziest little Coke Zero Instagram native app square sticker just pops in the top left and just stays there.
It's not even the top left. It's like
it's like 75% of the way to the top left. And then it ends with the Coke Zero glasses they're clanking. And I'm going to get this off the screen because I'm not giving more free ads to Coke Zero. But what drives me insane is like, I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but they literally are so obsessed with selling every second of intellectual property. They couldn't even post the reel until Coke fucking came in and bought the ad space. And then I started going through their page on Instagram, and you can see when a big event like that happens, they have little sponsors that they sell that spot to. And like some people, oh, that's corporate America. I was like, but it's kind of like again, everything that makes you turned off about the PGA Tour is like, could you not just post the moment and then let everyone share the moment and everybody comment on the moment, everybody clip the moment? You know what they would do if you clip that moment? They would shut down your fucking social media account. So it's just like, yeah, whatever.
It's Coca-Cola, you know. They're trying. Well, they're trying to
ridiculous.
they're getting ahead of the tour championship. They're a little inception going on there. They're just popping up, Coca-Cola and Southern Company.
I'm just so distracted looking at my other screen because it's such a bad product placement too. Like they don't even like Foreplay does this stuff now, but at least like when they do Chevy, it'll be like a 4K kind of digitized image comes over the bottom half of their reel for a couple seconds. This is something like a 6-year-old would do posting on Instagram. Like I better throw this square Coke sticker in there. But yeah, man, I don't get it.
Gotta pay
But
these guys somehow.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, and as much as we love Ludwig, I sent you guys, I know he's not doing his own social media, but the second he wins, it's like he won with his Toomey bag and he won because he only drives a Mercedes. And it's like, okay, I get it. I mean, he's making money.
That Coca-Cola ad paid for Adam Hadwin and Erasmus Hogard. They paid their salary for the tournament.
It's the damn truth. And their caddies. Oh, God. No, I think it's pretty much the same. I think I have an appreciation for what they do, but it's again not ever really been our direct lane, but I appreciate that he's a nice guy and they have their niche and
We
they
appreciate that
do
he
it well
exists in this space.
and that they exist in this space. A lot more offensive things going on in the space. Let me put it that way. But yeah, so guys, that's kind of the big PGA Tour event versus the big LIV event. Now the news is professional golf. You keep hearing everyone towing the party line, like professional golf. It's going to be good for the game. It's going to be great for the game. Is it? Does anyone buy this? I don't know. Jewel, what are your initial concerns, thoughts about the pending merger of getting the quote game of golf back together?
Well, there's obviously a lot of legal stuff that's got to happen, right? Like just release of contracts, and so I'm sure that they've got all that figured out. I'm most interested in a unified tournament schedule and just kind of what that looks like. Like, how often are we going to get together? What does it look like? Our signature events now, events that include like a top 10 from LIV and a top 50 for the PGA Tour. Like, what does that look like? And how often are we integrating all the players together? Like, that's kind of what I'm thinking, and I'm curious how they're going to structure it. It sounds like from what Tiger said today, like it's happening in the next few months, is what it feels like.
Yeah, it just seems. So even what you said, this is the catch-22 I feel like golf is in. So let's say they make it meritocracy or whatever the hell. I just can't say the word live. A merit-based system of the top, like you said, if you're in the top couple, you're exempt from LIV, you can get exempt into a PGA Tour event or whatever. But it's like, okay, but look at who's won these first few LIV events or like who's posted the top. Like, are we going to say like the whole point of this, if Bryson and Brooks and Cam Smith and DJ, if they're not in it, it's like that is what the game needs. Like the game of golf is too small to have their personalities and interesting players split. But like the PGA Tour is feeling now, like sometimes these guys have lulls. Like Jordan Spieth is having to get exemptions into signature events, and Justin Thomas missed the Tour Championship a year ago or whatever it is. So, Adam, I know you usually, you try to bounce off my cynicism, and sometimes you make me more depressed. But does this have any like? What the hell's going on? Because LIV doesn't look like it's stopping at all.
Yeah, it makes no sense. So there's two things that I can't square in my mind, and I keep hearing, we're going to get all the best players back together and playing golf tournaments again on a regular basis or whatever that looks like. And then on the flip side, I keep hearing LIV is going to exist in some way, shape, or form. And I don't see how LIV exists and you have the PGA Tour and these players are supposed to be playing together on one tour. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what
there's a rigidity to the PGA Tour. Like I could see the Live Tour just upending everything, right? It'd be like, oh yeah, we'll just change the whole schedule, we'll blow it up. I don't see any of that being reciprocated on the PGA Tour. And to be frank, the PGA Tour is probably the one that needs most of the demolition. Of they need a complete upending of their total 12-month schedule. So I just don't buy for 1 second that people on the PGA Tour right now who didn't go take the live money will now at this point go, oh yeah, we're totally good with going from Spain to Australia in February, like, or whatever, like I just I don't buy it.
But without like knowing all the logistics of how tournaments are scheduled and put together, doesn't it feel like Live has a big, massive wholesale change to go through than PGA Tour? Like, seems like some of the PGA Tour changes are pretty simple and need to just be adjusted.
Yeah, but maybe, but that's probably the
biggest
optimistic
change
way of
is they got to take away the power from the players. I mean,
yeah. So that's the thing. Like,
Which I think it
that's some of
will.
the-
Like, anytime private equity acquisition happens, which this is basically what this is going to be, the power is going to come away from the players. It's all going to be, they're going to be employees now, and there's probably going to be contracts, and it's going to get closer to what like MLB and NFL and NBA are. And they're going to
Yeah.
lose a ton of power, which in some ways will be really good, in some ways will be challenging.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that is the key. Like that, yeah, that sound anti-labor. That's usually not my stance, but that's the root cause. They have to become employees who do what is best for business, which is not going to be, oh, I get to go bring my 2 kids in the RV with me and go between Florida and Texas for 5 months of the year. Like that's just not going to exist when private equity is involved and going, I need a 5x min return. And like, I can't just funnel $1 billion a year into a loss, fund like we've had with Live. So, but that's kind of my issue is like the changes do seem relatively simple for the PGA Tour. I just see no willingness for them to deviate. Take Torrey Pines as the example. Now maybe if you're in the back room, they're saying, look, all this shit's about to get blown up. We're about to have a merger. We're not going to go do something exploratory. Fair. With that being said, they haven't earned my respect to believe that that was the calculus. And they take the easy path. Like, oh, well, we've been to Torrey. Oh, the infrastructure's already in place. We know it's going to have the build out we need to have the corporate structure and sponsors in place. And it's like, you know what? Like, I don't think anybody watching cares about any of that. So it was like your chance to just go, hey, we're willing to try something exploratory. But I think the issue is it doesn't pay the bills. You have to have the corporate sponsor present to pay this, whatever, what is it, 20 million at the signature events now? Which is probably asinine for golf. Like there's no business model that says an event is going to pull that kind of cash. It's just not. So that I don't
just got to throw a few more Coca-Cola, ads on top of these reels, and we might get there.
Yeah, that's the problem. Your answers make it are the problem. That's the real thing is like these guys. Imagine if your event was for $8 million and you were all still worth millions and it was a healthy ecosystem and it was vibing and cool and you could actually have an amazing event and build out naturally and organic. But instead it's, I don't know, man.
Hey, let me ask you this, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but knowing what you know right now, what do you think if whenever they do merge, what it's going to look like? What the structure is going to look like? Is there going to be, I don't know, a 20 event PGA Tour season that leads into some sort of live fall season? I mean, any idea of what you guys think this may?
I'll just have a quick comment. I think what Jules said is the likely outcome. I think it's just going to be not a lot of change of anything. And it's going to be, we have exemptions where guys can be sponsored or exempted into events and or positionally based. They can jump in and to and from. Now, what I would like is a wholesale restructuring and an integration. I just don't believe that'll happen.
Yeah. I think that's what's going to happen is these guys are going to basically turn into MLB players. Juan Soto just signed a $750 million contract. Dude's playing games if he's healthy. Like he doesn't get to say no to a game. Same way these guys are going to have to go to, to the 3M Open. Like they're going to have to go play if that's what the tour requires. And hopefully they'll build something in to where it's a unified ranking system and they have, which they've talked about, like a 64 hole match play or 64 person match play event to close the year out. And that's becomes more important. I just don't know that they're going to give a shit. And if they don't care, then we're not going to.
So you think they're going to be playing 2 tours? The top players.
I really do. But Adam, you don't like the 2-state solution? Is that the I mean, I don't like it. I just think that that's the practical outcome.
I mean, I barely like pro golf at all at this point. But
oh, it's tough to get excited about it.
I mean, when you watch what you watch Saturday night, where I was flipping between the LIV tournament and Torrey, it's not exactly easy to get excited. I just don't have any faith that this is going to result in anything that is entertaining or more entertaining for the fans. So,
I think it still all goes back to private equity takeover. Like this shit's gonna change, and for consumers and for the employees, it's not gonna get any better. But I do think getting the best players together helps a little bit. I was telling Andrew this earlier today, though. I am a little concerned about majors. Like it's been such a hyped last few years of majors with these guys getting back together. Whenever this gets unified, it takes a little bit away from these because the last 2 years has been incredible. It's like, oh shit, Brooks and Bryson are back.
Yeah. So like the challenge question is like majors, Ryder Cup, President's Cup, like are they low key almost like not wanting this to happen or to happen on such a kind of frivolous basis to make sure that their stake in the game is still the penultimate?
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I think with the majors, at least for me, I think what venues matter. I would say the venue matters more than anything as far as whether there's 2 separate tours or 1 tour, and if that brings down the majors. I think, look, we saw it last year with like Valhalla. I mean, I wasn't super jacked to go like watch that tournament.
That's and I think that's my number one like golf nerd critique of LIV is their model is like 100% like it doesn't matter. The venue doesn't matter. It's the vibe, it's the music, it's the shotgun start. And I'm like, no, man, like if you're trying to sell golf, you got to love golf. And I'm not saying some of the stuff they don't do on the party side can't be integrated. I'm just saying the venue. So I got to give Andy Johnson credit here. He said like a year ago, I was listening and he said the unification of golf to have like a super series. That's what we're talking about, right? A series that sits on top of everything, this kind of global schedule, 8 events, 10 events, 14 events, whatever it's going to be. It has to be the best players at the best venues. And that is the definition. Nothing else matters to the consumer. We don't care about what you need for the corporate sponsor buyout. We don't or build out. We don't care about the players' concessions. We don't care when I'm saying not their concessions, like what they want to have happen. We want the most interesting places you can go to with the best field. Of course, with anything, there's a tad bit of subjectivity in that, but like, oh, well, the tour players love TPC, whatever. Like, literally, I know it's like a TPC course should not be on the PGA Tour or this schedule ever again. If you want to say Sawgrass is the exception, fine. There should not be a TPC course that has anything to do with hosting these events. But they have to because it's part of the PGA Tour's business model. It's part of their revenue stream. Oh, they were designed to have the build out needed to host 300,000 people. You don't need 300,000 people to make it like a lively event. There's not 300,000 people at LIV Adelaide, and it's wild as shit. You just need like a fervent. You need a group like on the ground and close to the action. But it's not about how many. I don't buy that for 1 second.
But isn't that part of the excitement of the merger and the acquisition for us as fans is like, there's a potential that we get in some different golf clubs.
Yeah.
And I got excited this year when I saw the signature events calendar and I saw the Philly Cricket Club on the list. Like, that's kind of nice that we're going to switch it up finally. Fuck.
Yeah, it's something for sure. I mean, yeah, definitely not going to push back on getting some of those like interesting, different, new. And it's like for them, it makes it's like us. If we tackled this topic every week, it'd be really hard to do. It'd get boring. It would be hard to drum up excitement. However, if you rotated topics, it could be fresh. It could be exciting. You can use some critical time to actually build up why the fucking topic is exciting. That's what the golf course allows you to do. So their obsession with the freaking corporate cookie cutter, we've done it before, let's rinse and repeat in 12 months from now, that should completely be off the table. I would argue outside of maybe Augusta, we should not see any golf course 2 years in a row. And I understand that's logistically challenging, but you can get some smart people, probably a couple that can figure that all out for you. And I think that, like, to me, that's an ace in the hole that golf allows you to do, of like, don't be so committed to going to the same place over and over and over every year.
It's amazing what, the PGA Tour does, like how much effort they put into making the in-person experience great at the expense of like the actual golf product. I mean, there's like, it limits where they can go because they want to fit, 80,000 people on property. And it's like,
yeah, what's more important? Like, what if it was 20,000, but it could go to this crazy, unique venue?
Yeah.
Like, again, maybe that's not every single week, because we're also talking about like a whole new series of golf, right? Like, this is a super series that sits on top of the world of golf. So I mean, that's a loaded statement in itself, but
We're in the minority. Like, most people don't give a shit about these golf courses. Like, we're in the top, or not top, but we're in the 0.5%.
Yeah.
Most people don't care. They want to tune in and see the star golfers playing on Sunday.
And that's true, but my only pushback would be my wife. I call it the Jenna test. I think I've told this story maybe early on in the pod, was when they had the President's Cup. When was that? 2019 in at Royal Melbourne. And I had it on, and she'll passively watch golf because it's on in the house all the time. And she was just doing some laundry like a good wife would. Joke, absolutely a joke. And
she was like, look at these contours.
Seriously, she was like, where are they? And because it's an odd time of the day too, I was like, they're in Australia. She's like, that just looks like wildly different than anything else that they play. And it was right when Tiger was like the first hole, hit that like crazy skipper over the bunker shot. And she was like, that's pretty cool. And it hit me. I was like, that. So Jewel, while I can concede we are in the minority, I truly think it is a lost opportunity that the golf community always runs away from the golf because they think it's like, oh, it's only for the nerds. I'm like, if you package it that way, probably so. But if you really kind of like help educate people while they're in of like why this is different, I think there's some visually stuff. I mean, I just go back to, I know, well, you can't go to Bandon Dunes, but use it as an example. Like, if you hosted a 30-man event at Cypress Point, I get it. Oh, it's 6,700 yards. That's the shit the common person doesn't care about. What they would like, I think if they knew about the history and they got to see the crazy holes and the views and the landscapes, I think they would be like hooked into the product. And then you can have the star players there to help, aid them through or guide them through it. But yeah, man, like, gosh, just going to like, I'm sorry, like Memphis isn't allowed to be on the stop, guys. Amazing golf courses. Maybe you could argue Atlanta, like Georgia. Yeah,
we love our Memphis Lettuceheads, though.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're gonna be talking about, we're talking
Memphis Sweatisheads like Lucas Glover.
Yeah, yeet the sweat. Oh, dude, what if Lucas got all in on us and we just called him the King Sweatishead? Good job, Joel.
Hey, one more take real quick. I don't disagree. Like, I really truly believe what you're saying, man. I just think golf fanism is becoming something different than what we have expected and have grown up on. It's about shotgunning beers and drinking transfusions on the golf course and just playing and listening to music, man. And like, while I enjoy some of that, I also enjoy the more pure stuff too. And I just think there's so many less people who care about the architecture of a golf course, and they don't care about what the golden era is. You know, they want to see Scotty play John Rahm and Rory, and it doesn't matter where it is.
Yeah. Oh, maybe the game just needs to end, man. Or no, let me be clear. The sport just needs to end. The game can go live on, but the professional sport just needs to end. Any closing LIV PGA Tour upcoming merger comments so we can get them on the record? So when we fast forward in 6 weeks or 6 months, we can see how right or how wrong we are.
I want there to be a few things. I want there to be, all right, so bear with me. I want there to be a draft. I want there to be Scotty and John Rahm picking teams. And that's going to be a very small portion of this thing.
You
All
mean
right,
like a LIV
so
versus PGA Tour event?
they could pick whoever they want to. But
Okay.
Scotty's number one on PGA. I don't care who's number one on LIV. It's John Rahm. That's who it is. They go through and snake draft out, and they can have a team of 12. Okay, so basically Ryder Cup format. So yeah, after they draft a Ryder Cup format, 12 people per team, right? Is that what Ryder Cup is? 12?
Yeah.
Then we would look at a signature event series, a normal event series that would include any PGA and LIV Tour players, top 140 or whatever we want to say, and then a major season. And
Would
so
those
you
be like
basically go through.
qualifiers into the bigger events for the guys that aren't like exempt into them or whatever?
I think that it would be a part of the entire ranking system for the end of the year 64-man event, match play event to get into it. The FedEx, the LIV, whatever it becomes, but some type of ranking system where you get points based on those lower tier events that are lesser points, of course, all the way up to the major season. And the signature events can bounce between LIV courses and PGA courses. And hopefully the PGA chooses different courses. And everybody's welcome. Yeah, I mean it's a ranking system, but there's 3 different tiers of golf tournaments every week, and it switches. It's a signature, it's a lesser event, maybe it's another lesser event, and then it's a major, and you kind of roll through it throughout the summer. Then you kick in your Players Championship and whatever you want to, but there's got to be some type of crossover like that.
Yeah, and maybe that is like maybe LIV becomes a global team exclusive series of 8 events, 10 events, whatever it is. And then there's this PGA Tour signature solo series. Like that's kind of where I do think there's there to the team component. If it was truly a team centric component and it made sense and it was easy to follow and the guys were invested. And I think for that to work, you need all of the big names in that. You can't allow exclusions. I get it. Jordan's got 2 babies. He can't be out in Australia in February. Sorry, dude. If you're going to make $50 million a year and wear Academy, discount rack Under Armour for your whole career, like someone's got to pay the bills or accept that you're going to make $8 million a year and be super comfortable and happy and get to do your Florida, Texas route. But if you want to make 30, 40, $50 million a year, like Steph Curry plays 82 games and then has 25, 30 playoff games and they're gone all the time and have global obligations and media obligations. And it's like, if you want that kind of money, man, like you got to be willing to give up the time. You can't have the best of both worlds. Sorry for Jordan. I know that was just an example. He seems like an amazing guy, but
that was uncalled for.
I know that. I know that guy went to your soul.
Pretty rude.
All right, guys. So we got Pinehurst coming up. We beat down the doors of LIV v PGA Tour. We're just as eager to see what's going to happen as everybody else. Try not to belabor the point on that, and we'll just sit by and see what's going to happen over the next coming weeks. Gents, I can't wait, though. I can't wait to get out there with you, Adam. I can't wait to get Mr. Golfberg back from his vacation. I can't wait to talk to Jewel of, man, if you were there, you had no shot. You had no shot at competing with me at Pinehurst number 2, 4, or 10. But guys, as always, enjoyed it. Every Tuesday, check us out. Comment, like, subscribe. Thirsty Tuesdays. And as always, stay plugged. Peace.
And remember the Kobe paradox.